Welcome back to the channel. Valerie Bertinelli, a familiar name to generations of American audiences, from her role as Barbara Cooper in the 1970s sitcom One Day at a Time to the Emmy-winning cooking show Valerie's Home Cooking, she has been an unmistakable part of American popular culture. But what many people remember most may be the image of her in the blue bikini, a symbol of body transformation after successfully losing weight through the Jenny Craig program. But at 65, Valerie Bertinelli is rewriting her own story. She is no longer the woman obsessed with the number on the scale, no longer the wife searching for validation through men, and no longer someone carrying shame that never truly belonged to her. The year 2024 has been a difficult one, perhaps the hardest year of her life. Yet through those challenges, she has discovered the strength to live honestly as herself. Today, we will explore this deeply inspiring story. When Valerie Bertinelli revealed her nude photos at the age of 65, the public reaction was sharply divided. Some praised her courage, others expressed surprise or even criticism. But for Valerie, the decision had nothing to do with what anyone else thought. It was about ending a decades-long internal battle with her own body. Valerie shared that she had lived in a love-hate relationship with her body for most of her life. Since her teenage years, she had felt constant pressure to maintain a perfect image. The entertainment industry rarely forgives imperfection. Gaining a few extra pounds could mean losing a role or a commercial contract. Valerie spent decades dieting, exercising to exhaustion, and blaming herself whenever she failed to meet the expected standard. Perhaps the most iconic image of her career was the blue bikini from the Jenny Craig weight loss campaign. At the time, she weighed 110 pounds, a number she had fought hard to maintain. "I thought that if I reached 110 pounds, I would be happy," she later recalled. But even standing there in that bikini, I still found flaws. I still felt like I wasn't good enough. It was a cycle many women recognize. You reach the goal, but still don't feel perfect, so you set a new goal and keep chasing. Now at 65, Valerie weighs at least 20 pounds more than she did then. Yet for the first time in her life, she says she feels normal and comfortable in her own body. "I look in the mirror and see a woman who has lived, loved, suffered, and survived," she explained. "The scars and the wrinkles tell my story, and I'm no longer ashamed of them." The decision to pose nude became part of that healing process. Valerie describes it as being emotionally naked, revealing not only the body but also the soul. She wanted to show that a woman's value does not lie in physical perfection, but in authenticity and courage. And she wanted to apologize to her body, apologize for being too harsh on it, for refusing to love it for so many years. If someone asks Valerie Bertinelli about the year 2024, her answer is very clear. It's been the worst year of my life. Not because of one single catastrophic event, but because of a series of crises that gave her no time to recover. First came the health problems. Within 6 months, Valerie underwent 4 surgeries. She did not reveal every detail publicly, but each procedure required a painful and exhausting recovery period. Her 65-year-old body no longer healed as quickly as it once had. Each surgery left a new scar, both physical and emotional. But even more troubling was the physical impact of severe stress. Valerie began losing her hair, not just a little, but in alarming amounts. Doctors diagnosed the condition as stress-related hair loss. For someone who had faced scrutiny about her appearance her entire life, losing her hair felt devastating. "I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize myself," she shared. "My hair was falling out in clumps. I was terrified." Alongside the health issues, Valerie also faced intense anxiety attacks. Some days she couldn't leave her bed. She couldn't stop crying. She couldn't see any light at the end of the tunnel. She described the feeling as a terrifying sandstorm. You can't see, you can't breathe, and you don't know when it will end. At the same time, she faced serious challenges in her personal and professional life. Valerie was let go from a job she deeply loved and had hoped to continue for years. The shock came at the moment she felt most vulnerable, leaving her questioning her own worth and whether she was still needed. Yet through all these hardships, Valerie discovered a strength within herself she hadn't known existed. "I've survived terrible things before," she said, "and I will survive this. I have to believe that. Otherwise, I won't be able to keep going. That resilience, the ability to stand up again after falling, is what carried her through 2024. Valerie Bertinelli has gone through 2 divorces in her life, and both left deep emotional scars. Her first marriage was to guitar legend Eddie Van Halen of the band Van Halen, lasting from 1981 to 2007. It was a turbulent relationship. Eddie struggled with drug and alcohol addiction, while Valerie tried to hold the family together for the sake of their son, Wolfgang Van Halen. Eventually, she realized she could not save him if he did not want to save himself. Her second marriage to Tom Vitale began with hopes for a fresh start, but it too ended in disappointment and heartbreak. After the second divorce, Valerie felt like a failure. 2 marriages, both unsuccessful. I wondered if the problem was me, she admitted. She began questioning herself, whether she was good enough to be loved, whether she was capable of sustaining a healthy relationship. But perhaps even more painful was the series of losses within her family. Within a relatively short time, Valerie lost both her father and her mother. Losing parents is a natural part of life, but that knowledge does little to ease the pain. Valerie described the feeling as becoming orphaned. Even as an adult with a grown child of her own, losing both parents left her feeling disoriented and alone. Then in 2020, Eddie Van Halen passed away from cancer. Even though they had been divorced for many years, Eddie remained an important part of Valerie's life. He was the father of her son, a man she had once loved deeply, and someone she never truly stopped caring about. His death reopened old wounds and brought a wave of regret about what had been lost. All of these losses accumulated, creating an enormous burden that Valerie had to carry. She admitted that for a long time she didn't truly understand what real love was. She had confused dependence with love, fear of loneliness with genuine commitment. And only after losing so much did she begin to understand what she truly needed in life. One of the bravest revelations from Valerie Bertinelli concerns the pain she carried from childhood. At just 11 years old, she experienced sexual abuse. It was a wound she kept hidden for decades, living with shame and guilt, even though she was completely the victim. I carried shame that didn't belong to me for more than 50 years, Valerie shared. I thought it was my fault. I thought I had done something wrong, and that shame affected every aspect of my life, how I saw myself, how I related to men, and how I treated my own body. To heal from that trauma, Valerie sought several intensive forms of therapy. She used EMDR, eye movement desensitization, and reprocessing, a treatment designed to help process traumatic memories by revisiting them in a safe environment. She also studied DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, which helps people manage intense emotions. In addition, she tried somatic therapy and tapping, EFT, techniques to release stress stored in the body. I had to dig the shame out by its roots, Valerie explained. I had to face it, feel it, and then let it go. I had to understand that it wasn't my fault. I was just a child. The process was not easy. Some therapy sessions left her crying for hours, and there were days when she felt worse before she began to feel better. But gradually, Valerie learned to set boundaries to protect herself. She became determined not to allow anyone, whether partners, friends, or colleagues, to use her pain and vulnerability as a weapon against her. I allowed people to hurt me for far too long, she said. Now I say no. I won't accept disrespect. I deserve to be treated better. After 2 divorces and several unsuccessful relationships, Valerie Bertinelli reached an important realization about herself. She had not always chosen the right men. I have a pattern, she admitted. I'm drawn to men I think I can fix or save, but you can't save someone who doesn't want to save themselves. What Valerie now looks for in a man is not romance or drama. It is safety. I need to feel safe emotionally, mentally, and physically, she explained. I need to know that I can be myself without being judged, attacked, or hurt. But for now, Valerie has found that sense of safety not in a man, but within herself. I'm happy being alone, she said with a smile. For the first time in my life, I don't feel lonely when I'm by myself. I enjoy the quiet. I enjoy not having to explain or justify my actions. I simply exist. Her view of love has also completely changed. In the past, she believed that the butterflies in your stomach feeling was a sign of love. Now she realizes it was actually a sign of anxiety. Those butterflies? That's your body telling you something isn't right, she explained. Real love should bring peace, safety, and calm, not chaos. Interestingly, Valerie also discovered that she is still very much alive emotionally. Recently, she found herself attracted to someone, and the feeling reminded her that she wasn't numb inside. I thought my romantic side had died after my second divorce, she said. But when I felt attracted to someone, I realized I'm still capable of feeling. That's a good thing. But I'm also perfectly content if it doesn't lead anywhere. I don't need a man to complete me. Amid all the challenges, Valerie Bertinelli has found joy in unexpected places. Her greatest source of happiness comes from her son Wolfgang Van Halen, or Wolfie, as she lovingly calls him. Wolfgang followed in the footsteps of his father, the legendary guitarist Eddie Van Halen, and has become a talented musician himself. Watching Wolfie perform on stage and seeing the audience embrace him feels like heaven for Valerie. When I see Wolfie on stage, I see Eddie in him, she said. Her eyes filled with emotion. But I also see my own son, an incredible artist and a kind human being. That's my greatest pride. Work also brings Valerie comfort. Appearing on The Drew Barrymore Show and working on a new cooking project called Valerie's Place has helped her feel at home in the kitchen again, where she finds peace and joy. The kitchen is where I feel safest, she shared. When I cook, I'm not thinking about anxiety, the past, or the future. I'm just in the present moment. It's my form of meditation. Valerie's current philosophy of life is simple yet profound. Appreciate life and be ready to face whatever comes next. I survived 2024, my worst year, she said. If I can survive that, I can survive anything. I'm not afraid anymore. I just focus on staying calm in the stormy seas of life. Valerie has also learned to appreciate the small things. A quiet morning with a cup of coffee, a hug from Wolfie, a delicious meal she cooked herself. According to her, these moments are the true meaning of happiness. Not fame, not a perfect body, not a perfect marriage, but inner peace and the ability to love yourself. If Valerie Bertinelli's story inspires you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, and share this video with people you care about, especially those who may be struggling with body image or carrying pain from the past. What do you think about Valerie's decision to pose nude at the age of 65? Do you see it as an act of courage and inspiration? And are you carrying shame that doesn't belong to you? Share your thoughts in the comments. Sometimes speaking about it is the first step toward healing. See you in the next video. And remember, you are most beautiful when you are truly yourself.